Hello and welcome to another booktube video from me, Lauren, from Lauren and the Books. I'm cold, but can I put the heating on? No, because I don't want my Christmas tree to die. Anyone who's got any tips on keeping Christmas trees alive? We've been trying not to put the heating on in this room just so it doesn't drop. But I mean, it's getting to 6 degrees next week. So will we be able to? Who knows? Welcome, it's a very exciting day. She's got her Christmas gift guide jumper on. It just so happens that for the first sort of 3 or 4 years I did these Christmas gift guides, I was always in this jumper, and now it's sort of become my let's pop the old jumper on, and it counts as the Christmas gift guide jumper. However, it's sort of t-shirty material, and that's why there is a cardigan over the top today. So I've got 10 books here. We're going pure books this year. And I'm going to be talking you through why I think they make great gifts, and yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. If you would like to look at previous gift guides of mine, I will link some down below. I very much stand by all of those. Some years I do unbookish gift guides. This year it's just pure books. In the past I've done sort of like both together, but yeah, there's 10 books here that I'm very, very excited to share with you and I think would make great gifts. So I've sort of put them into categories of things that keep giving in 2025, sort of short Christmas reads, and then books that I've read this year that I think would make really good gifts. So we'll start with the first two because they're very similar, and you'll know that I love a sort of everyday book. So I've been reading from a poem for every spring, summer, autumn, winter day, every day, this every Friday reading vlog, and I love books that you can flick to a certain day in that book and read an excerpt about a particular subject or something like that. Well, this year I found two very exciting ones. The first one is A Recipe for Every Day of the Year by Francesca Huntington, which is a year of timeless, trusted and seasonal recipes. So you can flick to whatever day it is in the year and you may well find something that you would like to cook there. And because it's done sort of throughout the year, it's seasonal. So if we have a look for today, it's the 3rd of December today. I've just opened at the 4th of August and it was a blueberry bakewell and I already feel very excited about that. Let's have a look at the 3rd of December. The 3rd of December it's not one for me because I don't eat meat, but it's slow cooked aromatic pork curry. And it serves it takes 2.5 hours to 3 hours to cook, and it gives you the list of the recipe, the list of the ingredients, and then a little recipe on how to do it. Tomorrow is cranberry and almond biscotti. Oh my God, that sounds amazing. And they tell you to bake them twice for extra crunch. These are delicious, dunked into a cup of tea or coffee. So yeah, great year of recipes here, told seasonally. So you can look, if you've got to make something for somebody in the summer and you're sort of panicking, you can just have a look and think, oh yeah, pesto scrambled eggs, that would be nice. That would be nice. But yeah, it's a gift that sort of keeps on giving, and I already love getting cookbooks. There's one coming for Christmas that can sort of like take you into the next year, but this I feel like is absolutely structured to take you into the next year. So it's A Recipe for Every Day of the Year by Francesca Huntington. Very good. I also quite like a recipe book with no pictures as well. I've changed. And then the next one is by David Olusoga, and that's Black History for Every Day of the Year by David Olusoga, Yinka Olusoga and Kemi Olusoga's together, and it's got a bit of black history for every day of the year, which is really exciting and something that I definitely need to learn more about. So let's have a little look and see what today's is. Some of them are very long, so I won't read all of them. So this is the 3rd of December and it's about Horace Ove. So it says, in 1975, Horace Ove released his film Pressure, making him the UK's first black director of a feature film. And then it goes into details about Ove, where he was born in Belmont in Trinidad in December 1936. It's his birthday on the 3rd of December, so today's the birthday, the anniversary. And he moved to the UK in the 1960s and enrolled in film school in 1965. Yeah, so yeah, it's a little bit of like black history for every single day, and like black joy, and God, I've just seen the end papers for the first time, they're lovely. And yeah, like I say, it's just something that I really like to have a little excerpt of something every day of the year, and I feel like these are great gifts to give. So 2 of those. Oh no, I've just seen that whole book underneath is, look at that. The whole book underneath the dust jacket is amazing as well. So yeah, a great gift. So sort of keeping in line with that, I saw this in the book Tales on Market Square, the independent bookshop in Faversham, and I was like, oh, I'm going to use that next year. And then also thought, oh, that would be a great gift to go in the gift guide. So this is the Book Lover's Journal for 2025. That's next year. And as well as being a sort of like diary and calendar and all of that sort of thing. It features bookish recommendations and things from authors that you may well know, like I do. Marion Keyes, know her very well. Dorothy Coomson, who else have we got here? David Nichols, Mick Herron, Mike Gale, Simon Pegg, Freya North. And if I just take you, because I don't want to spoil it too much for myself, so for instance, it starts here with like, oh, so Freya North is the editor of the Book Lovers Journal, and it starts with Freya North recommending 5 books or talking about books. And then it gives you little sections to write sort of bookish things in here. Oh, here we go. This is the best gift there is. We ask authors to tell us about the books they often give as gifts. Alex Hay gives Life After Light by Kate Atkinson. Let's have a look. Dorothy Coomson gives the High Rise Mystery Books by Shana Jackson. CJ Ray gives Bird by Bird by Anne Lamott, and just lots of like writing and stuff about books there, which is exciting. Then you can move on, you can do books on my wish list, books on my gift list. And then there's a little article here about covers of books, which is exciting. And then there's lots of sort of arguments against using a bookmark, against folding over the corner. And then we move into the sort of diary aspect of it. And in January, and then it'll offer you a recommendation at the beginning of each month. The one they're offering for January is Our Spoons Come From Woolworths by Barbara Comines. And then, yeah, and then there's an interview with Mick Herron. And then we've got like sort of weekly by week planner, which is what I'm going to use to log my reading next year. So when I do my reviews, I'm going to put them in here. It's also got little sections as well for this month's reading and notes. So I'm going to be able to put my videos in here as well. So yeah, and then I don't like, oh, and then at the end of January, it's got a little section to talk about January was, and notes, quotes and anecdotes. And sometimes it's good to write things down. So I would probably write down like ideas for my videos, maybe for February or something. I don't want to go into February because I want this to be a sort of like I'm opening it as I go. But yeah, and I think maybe I'll try and read these recommendations at the beginning of each month in that month, which will be very exciting. Like I've just said, the first one is called Our Spoons Came From Woolworths. So yeah, I think that's a lovely little gift for a book fan like I am. I have seen many book journals before and included some in this here gift guide, but this is the first one I've seen for a specific year, and to have the sort of calendars and everything in there, so that's going to be really helpful for me as a massive reader and also as someone who's got a booktube channel and to keep a note of lists and things like that. So I thought that was very, very nice, so keep your eyes out for that one as well. Continuing with the theme of things that can keep giving, this is a book that I bought myself in the Margate bookshop, and is going to form a sort of part of my Friday reading vlogs next year, and I thought that would be, this sort of thing could represent maybe something that you could give to somebody in your life. So I've gone for Kent, 40 Favourite Walks. I live in Kent in the southeast of England. I'm certain there will be books for this for whatever region you live in the UK. And then if you were to give that to a friend or a family member, and you could say, let's do some of these walks, or maybe mark one that you really like and be like, let's go on this walk on this day. And I also think maybe you could accompany this with like a thermos flask or a pair of gloves, or if you wanted to go a bit bigger, maybe a pair of walking boots or something like that. And I just feel like it's a nice gift that you can sort of make plans with someone for next year. And yeah, this is what I'm hoping to do on my Friday reading vlogs. Sometimes with David, sometimes with my cousin Laura, and to walk these 40 walks in the year. So yes, and this was so reasonable as well. This was £6.99 for this. And like I said, it's got 40 walks. And I'm also going to treat myself next year to the Ordnance Survey app on my phone to help me out with these walks as well. So yeah, a walking book of 40 favourite walks for the area that you live in. And then the last book in this sort of section of books that keep giving in 2025 is a cookbook. It's actually a book that I received as a gift. So David's sister bought me Dinner by Mira Sodha for my birthday. Haven't made anything from this yet, but I will be making something from it next week, actually, when David's sisters are here for dinner. So that will be exciting. So this is, Mira Sodha is an amazing author who wrote East, which you may remember a couple of years ago. I sort of cooked my way through East. I didn't make everything in East, but I made a lot of stuff in there. I took many a trip that year to an Asian supermarket and had a great time discovering sort of lovely recipes. What I love about Mira Sodha's recipes is that they're vegetarian, so it's lovely. I can just go into this and just pick whatever I want. She's also written Made in India, which is a super good one. But this one, what appealed to me about this one was that it's all dinners, and sometimes in cookbooks I'll find you have like a little fluffy chapter about little bits that maybe I wouldn't ever make, or a whole chapter on breakfasts, which I don't often make breakfasts and stuff like that. But to have a whole book about dinner, very, very exciting. And it's also set into different sections. So for example, eggs and cheese, baked butter paneer, that sounds bloody lovely, doesn't it? Chili paneer Korean style, celery and shiitake congee, and yeah, lots and lots of lovely stuff to make and have a lovely time with. Whole section about knives and loads of like advice, as well as beautiful, oh god, I've just seen Gujarati potato and cabbage curry. And then there is a small section at the back about sweets. That's another thing that I'm not mad on, is a book that, because I'm not much of a baker. I mean, I've been baking my way through a cookbook this year, but I'm not much of a baker. But this one to have a sort of small, it's called Happy Endings, and it starts with something like tahini banana bread. This one I do feel excited about because I do enjoy a bit of evaporated milk. Crispy chocolate salted Thai rotis. And it looks like they're spreading condensed milk over the top of that. So yeah, would highly recommend this. Haven't made anything out of it yet, but everything looks banging. When we were looking through it sort of as a family on the day that I got it, I'd have a look through it, David's sister would have a look through it, David's mum had a look through it, I've given it to my nan to have a look through it, and I can't find anything bad in it. Another one, chickpea and potato curry with quick paratha. Like, it all looks banging. Oh, there's even bloody pasta in here. So yeah, very much looking forward to cooking more on that, and I think it would make a great gift. And then we move into the next section, which is sort of short books you could potentially read over Christmas. And one of them is a very short story, a short novella that I actually read on my birthday, and it's Christmas related. So if you've got somebody who likes to sort of take themselves away at Christmas, maybe sit in front of the fire for sort of half hour, an hour, then this would be perfect because it's only 60 pages long. It's Susanna Clarke's The Wood at Midwinter. And it's a short novella in this beautiful sort of foiled naked hardback. It's a tale set in the run-up to Christmas. There is some absolutely gorgeous illustrations in here. The illustrations, I should say, are done by Victoria Sorden, and these beautiful illustrations of the forest, in the woods, sorry. And this book follows 19-year-old Merodis, who is walking through the woods with her dogs and her pig called Apple. And she comes across a blackbird and a fox and a sort of unusual figure. And the course of her life changes from them. So yeah, very sort of like wintry magical tale that you could definitely read on Christmas or in the days after Christmas. Very, very short. And then I've also picked another short novella that you could read sort of in between Christmas and New Year. I guess I love to read in between Christmas and New Year, betwixtmas. It's my favourite time of the year, really. Sort of like quiet and chilled and just wearing my pyjamas all day and reading and having a lovely time. I always sort of earmark books to read in between on that period of time. So if you've got a reader in your life that you think might also want to do that and think about a book that they can read between Christmas and New Year, but want that to be achievable, then this little novella called The Party by Tessa Hadley would be brilliant. And it's also set in on a winter night, and it's about a party that happens on a Saturday night in winter in post-war Bristol. And it's about two sisters and coming of age, and they go to an art students party in a dockside pub, and there they meet two men, Paul and Sinden, whose air of worldliness and sophistication both intrigues and repels them. Sinden calls a few days later to invite them to a grand suburban mansion Paul shares with his brother and sister, and Moira accepts despite Evelyn's misgivings. Here we go. So it's sort of glamorous, wintry party setting, sort of the thing that you might want to sit and read in one setting. But yeah, I'm looking forward to reading that in between Christmas and New Year. And this front cover is beautiful. Very, very, very wintry. And then the last sort of section are books that I've read this year that I think would make great gifts, particularly if you are my age. So the first one is Reach for the Stars by Michael Cragg, and this follows a decade of pop music from 1996 to 2006. I read this earlier this year and I could not put it down. It's so much fun. If you've got somebody who's recently enjoyed watching Boy Bands Forever on BBC, there's a 3-part documentary on the BBC at the moment called Boy Bands Forever, then they will absolutely love this. It does a sort of deep dive into the bands of this time and the artists of this time. In the late 90s, early 2000s. There's also a whole chapter dedicated to the X Factor and how that sort of ran and why it was such a success and then why it came crashing down so much. It harks on previous interviews that people like the Spice Girls have done. There's a whole chapter on the Spice Girls. Take That, Atomic Kitten, Girls Aloud, the forming of Girls Aloud, and just sort of like how the industry worked at that time. It's very, very nostalgic. It's very, very fun, but it's also very, very horrifying because you sort of are privy again to the way culture was in the 90s, particularly around women's weight, which I do feel has got better recently. I mean, certainly I feel like it's got better recently. But yeah, there's like observations on that. And yeah, it's just fun. Like, it's really, really good fun. And yeah, I think if you are of my age and you were sort of enjoying pop music around that time, that is definitely something that you will love. And then also, this is just would make a gorgeous present. This is The Golden Mole and Other Vanishing Treasure by Catherine Rundle. This is the paperback version, but there is also a hardback version as well. And it's got these gorgeous illustrations with sort of like golden aspects to it, which is it just feels super expensive and like luxury. Here is the bear with a little golden shadow beneath him. The end papers are beautiful, featuring all of the animals that feature in here, and it's just a sort of little look into that particular animal. There's the seal on another little golden shadow, and facts about those animals and why they're disappearing from our lives. And yeah, it just felt very, very special, and just like horrifying in some ways that you're finding out these awful things about these animals which are leaving us, but also so magical because of all these things that these magical animals can do. And again, here is another bit of those illustrations. But yeah, this in the paperback or in the hardback would be a gorgeous gift. I actually thought it was a children's book the first few times I saw it on the shelves, but then once I received it I was like, oh no, that is for anyone. So there we go. And then the last book is a book that I think is going to be my favourite book of the year. It's not been beaten yet, but who knows, and that is A Thousand Feasts by Nigel Slater. Not only does it look like the gift, I mean, look, wouldn't we want to receive that? This beautiful, beautiful, lovely sort of burnt orange with these golden leaves, and then the end papers are wow. It's a beautiful collection of Nigel's notebooks over the years. So it's split into sort of 3 sections of recipes and trips and visits, and then sort of home life and then garden life. And you'll hear a gorgeously written, I mean, Nigel's writing is unbelievable, gorgeously written sort of excerpt either about a place he's visited in Japan or Norway or like anywhere in the world, and then the home section is more about sort of like what he gets up to in his home and how he's decorated a particular room, or my favourite bit, his broom and brush collection, and then the garden bit is more about him sort of bonding with his garden and stuff. And it's just beautiful reading that I just writing that I just never ever wanted to end. I was just having such a gorgeous time with it. But yeah, I think if you've got somebody who's into food and food writing, then this is the place to go. So there we go, 10 books that you may well wish to gift to people this year. If you were receiving one of these books, which book would you like to receive? Would love to hear that in the comments. So we've either got A Recipe for Every Day of the Year, Black History for Every Day of the Year, The Book Lover's Journal, Dinner, The Wood at Midwinter, The Party, Reach for the Stars, The Golden Mole, or A Thousand Feasts. If you had to receive one of those books, which one would you like to receive as a gift? And yes, hopefully this has been helpful to you. I love gift guides. I'm going to go deep into all of these gift guides this year. And I'll see you all again soon for another book video. Goodbye!